touched Arnold's hands, he was waiting for it to come over. Jenkins then, the extra thank you. Now the chance, huge pass from Jonathan, but McGaughey wasn't forward, but the advantage will be played. Phillips is the man. Well, was he allowed to get up by Kevin Hopkins? The referee decides that the ball won't emerge, but just a little difficult there to know for the tackler whether to allow the defender to get up before tackling or not. And obviously Hopkins timed it perfectly.
And this is one of the best positions Swansea have had of the match, in the middle of the field. I'm expecting them to use Clement, somebody to use his electrifying pace.
And the space is left side. An overweight situation on the other side with two centres, the full-back there, but the forwards could care little for that. They'll take it on. And Reynolds, the delivery, and the referee waiting for the advantage. He was nudged forward. The advantage will be Swansea's. Reynolds would have expected just a tighter support there. He's such a forceful player, the flanker. Holds no fears at all. Paul Arnold just the knock there as well in the supporting role.
Do you notice earlier on again, Hewish poured through a line-out gap. I would have thought that Moriarty, with his experience, would have said, hey, we've got to close the line as we tap in the ball back. And Hewish and Oswald have had a field day this afternoon. They've poured through gaps, and there's no worse sight for the scrum half to see Hewish coming down in you.
And there is the man with hands on hips, poised, ready to get back into the fray. A man who played in the final here at 83 against Swansea, an afternoon which saw Pontypool victorious. Jones finds Anthony Clement, and he in turn hoists the most towering of kicks. Parry and Rob Lewis between them save it from Pontypool, but it's difficult times these as it's set back. Is it well delivered? There's a chance here. The timing, Price, lovely vision from the outside half, still keeps it in play. Is it supported? Not tight enough. It offers Pontypool the chance to hassle and harry, and that is their forte, as David Joseph had thoughts of talking sternly to Gavin Jenkins, but just holds back at the last moment.
Goes in there, Kevin Price, he's full of confidence, the youngster, and a lovely inside pass because the cover was there. Robert Jones does well. Look at that flick of the hand by Robert Jones. But you see how many Pontypool jerseys are back there. There's no gaps there, and they're on the retreat now, Swansea. The ball's loose, it's been hacked away. That was great play by Swansea, but also a marvellous defence. But look at the jerseys of Pontypool, they're all there.
And Kevin Price obviously having is it a dislocation scene too? Yes, and you can almost feel the pain as the finger is pulled back into joint. But a gamble of Swansea's in selecting Kevin Price.
Yeah, I watched him play against the Barbarians last Monday. He was excellent, his vision was good, his goal kicking was good, and really Malcolm Dacey's had a knee injury and some problems, so I think he was justified. The same probably as Blethen Taylor getting in instead of the experienced and international Arthur Emion.
So that's the stage on which these players are playing. Not a packed by any means National Stadium, but support loud enough to make it comfortable and exciting. The game thus far, just having seen one try, and that to Richard Webster in the early minutes of the game, and just 1 point separating the two sides. Back to action. The Pontypool 22, the front rows, not quite able to keep their footing. What a platform this should be for the Swansea three-quarters. Robert Jones sweeps, and the chance here, lots of running off the ball, but not the sort of ball that Clement would have wanted. But the man is so swift, so strong, really weaves some patterns that are difficult to perceive, and just did enough to get back over the advantage line and keep the momentum and the advantage.
But Anthony Clement will be disappointed there. That was perfect ball, it came out the backs, and he didn't take it on the burst because the passing in midfield was so slow and he was going backwards. He did well to retrieve the situation.
Again, I'm just wondering whether Clive Norling needs a sterner word with the front rows. Obviously, little contest being played within a contest there, as Robert Jones first of all looked for Stuart Davis, but could only find Sean Hansen, and the winger gratefully will acknowledge that, and a sigh of relief for Pontypool.
Robert Jones looking to use that little short space there. Stuart Davis controls it well. The idea was good. The chip ahead would have been nice, but good play by the winger, safe touch.
The Pontypool 10-metre line in view as Richard Moriarty this time declines the tap that offers the solid platform. Again then, the chance, Parfitt, good running by Hopkins, not the best of passes though, and White offered the chance to attack Parfitt. Good tackling, but still White standing on his feet, waiting for the support to arrive. Pontypool here, if they can win this, there are all sorts of overlaps either side, but the ball won't emerge, and Swansea breathe again.
Again, great disappointment with the Swansea midfield. Plenty of time, but they threw the ball into open space. Clement wasn't there, and the winger White did very well.
The gusting wind must make it problematic for long passes, especially the ball just dipping and weaving.
Quality ball, they're moving on at pace, but I think they overcomplicate things. Look, there's the man running off. Should have been a pop-up, nobody there. He's taken perhaps out the game, but White did well. Should have been perhaps looking to feed the ball. Number 7 was supported, not a great deal of support there. Only Vince Davis getting there. Now it comes in strength, but Swansea did well to kill the ball. They were in trouble underneath their posts.
What a chance this is for Pontypool. The Swansea goalpost in view. Jonathan able to feed McGaughey. Great looping by Phillips. Tremendous running by the outside half. This is a great position for Pontypool. The pressure is on. All they need is possession. The feed is there. But Hewish denied. What brave tackling. Still, that ball, well, it won't emerge. Normally it would. And that says much for the killing efforts of Swansea's forwards.
But McGaughey's caused them all sorts of problems in midfield. They looked for the little chip ahead there, but he carried on running, and there's only great defence kept the backs out, and then Hewish on the charge.
Pontypool in the past would have loved to have driven this, but the front rows have collapsed, and surprising. One would question why Pontypool would want to collapse a scrum in that position. They had everything going for them, and it would seem strange then that their front row would collapse it when they would want to drive Swansea backwards. Still, Swansea will breathe again and thank that the decision went their way.
That could be a vital decision there, because Swansea were in a great deal of danger.
Match kept alive. Yes, Pontypool yet again. Oswald sets up the charge. Moriarty attempts to stem the flow, but almost impossible as the momentum now being built up. Jonathan, was he felled? His forwards care little. They'll get on with the fray.
I think Gary Jenkins had to take that, but Jonathan went to go in to get the ball, and I think he took a nasty smack on his head.
Gary Jenkins, the hooker, takes up the scrum half role, and Kerry Jonathan, official knocked, not for the first time, the scrum half, a durable character though, and he'll be back in quickly. There's
where Dean Oswald does very well. He's great at this New Zealander, staying on his feet, driving. Richard Moriarty does well to hold it up, but they always produce the ball. When they go in, you can bet your life is going to come back. Just watch Jonathan. There he goes, number 9. I think he must have taken a bang on his head.
But suddenly we're seeing Pontypool change gear, Phil. Just making problems for Swansea.
Yes, their pack have stepped up a gear, they look far quicker, but they've also got a new thing in their armoury now, a good centre in McGaughey who can split defences, and that's causing Swansea problems out wide.
The Swansea front row, Colclough the far side, Billy James the middle, and David Joseph on this, the loose head side. They had to stand their ground here. Oswald, the chance to attack the centre field, and that's the underbelly of the Swansea defence. But Anthony Clement, well, there is space here. If he can attack Hewish and keep the ball alive. Titley was in support but couldn't get the ball to him. But tremendous counter-attacking from full-back, not daring to kick the ball to hand, and the odd little squabble going on.
Oswald lost the ball, which is most unusual after crashing the midfield, but Clements showed outstanding pace. I think he should have flicked it inside there to Titley, but he decided to go on a good tackle.
Clive Rawling will keep them apart for a second whilst the forwards cool down just a little bit. As Kerry Jonathan points to the box area to make sure that Sean Hansen and Adwell Parry are aware of that area, that Robert Jones might want to put a high ball there, and Jones obliges. And who's standing there but Adwell Parry, and that's an excellent catch as well. Still under pressure though from Mark Titley. Swansea with the advantage, the drive ahead, but reclaimed on the retreat by Pontypool, and that shows their strength. And there is space there, intelligent work, but this offers Clement then the chance. If that stays in play, it offers Blevin Taylor the chance to chase, but the bounce kind to Swansea in any case. But again, it's thrust and counter-thrust.
There was a lovely idea by David Phillips to chip ahead. There was space there, but Clement's beginning to look very, very sharp at full back, and you can't kick to a more dangerous opponent at number 15.
Rarely have Swansea been this close to Pontypool's line in the second half. Pontypool, though, retain the advantage, and surely Gavin Jenkins and Neil Jones would want to tie things in. Indeed, it is Neil Jones. That is well done. Probably Swansea expecting the low flat throw. Jones deciding on the lob, and well, perhaps they would have wished a better compliment than that. Kerry Jonathan, the scrum half, really has had a mixture of a game. They're good, and at times perhaps just the odd occasion the indifferent.
And Stuart Davis has gone back to the right at the back of the line. Now a long throw should go to him.
And claims it. Joseph peeling, Arnold supporting, setting up the drive. Alan Reynolds is there, and this is Swansea showing their other side, the side they've developed during the season, of the strength of the drive and the maul, as Billy James, the old head, then drives on and sets up the advantage at the scrum.
Yes, that's the change in the Swansea pattern. For so long they tried to please in the Heineken League, and now when 2 points became far more important, they've changed using their back row.
Of course, that's why this front row was selected today. They have young and enthusiastic front row players as well, but here it was the grinding work that was essential against Pontypool. As Robert Jones looks for a chink, offered the support from Webster initially and Stuart Davis, and Billy James. Well, what a tackle, what a try-saving tackle. James surely was over, but held up and thrown back. Still it's on its way. Stuart Davis claims it. The interception was not the deliberate knock-on. The penalty's awarded, not the penalty try though, when that option would have been open to Clive Rawling.
And I'll tell you one thing, Pontypool can say a sincere thank you to number 14, Sean White there. He pulled off a magnificent tackle. Robert Jones going on the back rows, Stuart Davis and Webster, Reynolds, they're all there. Just look, he's through Stuart Davis. Watch number 14 come there, take number 7 and hold him back from the line. Marvellous play by the right winger from Pontypool.
Well, there was a long debate before finally Robert Jones decided that a kick at goal is the better option. There were thoughts of a short penalty tap and a chance of a try, but with just the slimmest of advantages, Swansea desperately needing to widen that gap. It couldn't be closer, and Kevin Price needing the assistance of David Joseph, just showing the problems the wind is causing here. What a pressure moment for Kevin Price. And what a boost it would be for Swansea should he succeed. It is curling in, it is perfectly done. Really judged it to perfection. The wind's so tricky, it needed to be aimed out right. And the outside half draws it in perfectly. And there is greater light now between Swansea and Pontypool, a 4-point advantage. 18 minutes played of the second half, as Parry again wants to put the pressure right down as far as possible towards Swansea's goal line, and Price for a second had Swansea hearts fluttering, but eases the tension.
Good play by Kevin Price, because the wind isn't so strong on that far side of the field, and he gained good ground there rather than drop out to the opposition.
And the two-man option by Pontypool offers Oswald the chance to drive. Not quite finding his man, but what a good tackle by Reynolds, superbly done by the flanker. And indeed, in trying to reclaim that, Pontypool no option but to go over the top.
That was sloppy work by Dean Oswald. He was in there, he just threw the ball anywhere, and he put his little out and half in trouble.
So suddenly, the onus back with Swansea, and Clement again not over ambitious, quite satisfied to peg that touchline and keep his forwards on their toes. Again, so many nudges and pulls and jumps across. Difficult to know really how the lineup can be controlled. Still, Swansea on the retreat, seemingly able to maintain possession. Drawn in though at the back row, and then Moriarty, Jones the captain, and Webster not quite able to complement the scrum half's work.
That was great robbing work by the Swansea forwards, because originally Pontypool went in with it. You don't see them often lose the ball, but great ripping work with Moriarty to the fore.
The two tall locks, Paul Arnold and Richard Moriarty. Keith Colclough not quite ready to get his head involved in the scrum, now comfortable. And Dean Oswald the chance to control it. And Kerry Jonathan the chance to sweep it away. Admiral Parry bisects that area between Berlin Taylor and Anthony Clement, and then the wing and the fullback, the understanding to ease any danger. We're into the final quarter then of this Schweppes semi-final cup match between Pontypool and Swansea, and the men in white have a 4-point advantage. It's the men from Gwent though that have the possession as Magorchi tries to set up White, but the pass not quite to hand. Really, White was looking for the gap as Swansea on the retreat. It wasn't knocked forward and they reclaim it. That is well done, and again so swift is Jones's pass from difficult possession that Clement is able to sweep away a superb clearance kick. And that is great defensive work by Swansea.
Clement did ever so well there. Inside his 22, he gained about 60 metres in an outstanding kick.
And Kevin Hopkins, having tackled Sean White in midfield, finds himself just suffering a little bit.
Oswald doing well at the line out, giving perfect ball, and White just came on the burst, number 14, got a crash through the middle, but the pass was too high, too hard, but he certainly took out Kevin Hopkins. So strong and determined was the Pontypool right winger. Sean
White, Pontypool's right wing, and quite word with his fullback, Adwell Parry. Just having a look at that scoreboard behind them.
It's a crucial area for Pontypool, I believe, and a key time, because they were right down on the Swansea line. They were penalised for collapsing the scrum. I think they fancied their chances there. Then Oswald lost the ball after he'd crashed in the middle of the midfield, and Swansea have come back down. I just wonder whether they've gone a little bit flat, Pontypool. They need to get back down towards the Swansea line and some points on the board. It's
from herein that the reserves of strength and stamina come to the fore, and if nothing else, Pontypool over the years has been renowned for its strength and stamina. So Swansea in the driving seat though, the 4-point advantage. The ball on the plate, and again a straighter angle this time from Magorchi, and Lewis plays the flanker row, the centre, to set up the drive. Trouble is, should second phase come here, there aren't any 3/4 out there. Still, the momentum maintained. Here's the warm-up for Swansea. Just the worry over Kevin Hopkins in midfield. Tim Michael would come on should Kevin Hopkins suffer from that injured knee of his. Jonathan again has had a look and decided that the box area behind Mark Titley is the favoured one. Titley can't quite gather the nudge forward from Vince Davis. Clive Bowling doesn't wait for the advantage. None would accrue, he decides. So Swansea, just a little vulnerable perhaps at times under the high ball. It's the problem area for them still.
I'm sure that Swansea will be looking at Clement or Robert Jones to put a long one right down to the corner from this position.
That scrum doesn't look comfortable. Indeed, it offers Pontypool the sort of chance they love to exploit. Just watch them pour on, just watch them pour through, and then the chance was that offside in midfield. McGaughey again looks for a channel, but Clive Norling will call them back, and it'll be a penalty. Very nearly in front of the post. Gary Jenkins quickly there. His captain won't be far behind in deciding that Jenkins won't charge, but Parry will aim a kick at goal.
What a topsy-turvy game. Swansea scrimmaging so well at vital moments, but then they were driven back there, and that caused them all the problems.
The lack of concentration as much as a lack of combined technique or strength. The whole of Pontypool will be willing, as will Parry's kick, to go over, because it'll again bring them within sight and a chance of a cup final place. "28 metres, Arwell Parry's kick, and swings it to perfection, and the fullback for the third successive time in the game adds to Pontypool's tally and again brings them within a whisker of Swansea.
And I think that's the boost I said they needed, really, that they'd gone a bit flat and they got down to the line and he made them pay.
There are 15 minutes to play here at the National Stadium, and both Swansea supporters and Pontypool's will be getting more and more nervous as those minutes tick away. It really is a tight situation, as Kevin Price has to get his forwards back into the game, and that is a loss of concentration, because there Dean Oswald was offered the cleanest of catches, the easiest of routes to set up the momentum and keep the advantage at the scrum. Pontypool scrum just turned and spoilt, but Oswald will want a better platform than that, and an injury will need some attention. Dean Oswald, the Pontypool number 8, has the bloodied nose, posing him one or two problems.
Yeah, but there's no way that he's going to come off. You know, I'm sure John Perkins will be willing his men on in this final quarter to step up a gear, and he's a crucial man. He's had a good game, but I think he's going to be the man that can swing it for Pontypool.
Really, Pontypool have been denied that scrummaging dominance they would normally want to have over opposition teams.
Yes, apart from one or two scrums, but as you quite rightly say, I think Swansea lost concentration. They haven't been able to dominate, and therefore Oswald hasn't been able to pick up drive with the support of Buish, Davis, and the second rows coming on, and that's good selection policy by Swansea, because they've picked 3 sturdy men up front.
And again, the front rows, as not only the contest within the contest takes its toll, but tiredness as well. Still Joseph and Musto engaged on this side, and McGaughey wants to set up the attacking position. Now that is interesting from the Pontypool centre. Back there is Titley, does some little trick, and then in concert with Clement, well, his captain, well, that was outside the 22 for Clement, marginally so, and just watch how close it is.
That must have been inches, I tell you, because Clement was so sort of confident of striking that.
It'll cause some debate, because it means such a difference to Swansea. The line-out would have been on the halfway line. Now it's on the 22.
Look very carefully, Clement's got a lot of time. Well, yes, maybe half an inch over the line. And the platform then is there for Jonathan. And Phillips, the drop kick at goal is on here, and
And that gives Pontypool the lead, and the joy on Adwell Parry's face as he congratulates Phillips. Well, right out of a controversial decision, Phillips the perfect riposte and the extra 3 points.
What a drop goal. This was absolute perfection. Gathered the high ball, took his time and stroked it. Lovely follow through, and that's the way to drop 3 points for your team.
Kevin Price and Swansea enter uncharted territory, behind by 2 points. It's their turn to fight back. The test of their resolve. It's they that get the momentum, and it's they get the advantage at the scrum.
Isn't it amazing that half-inch that Tony Clement took outside his 22 to enable the liner to be there, gave Phillips the chance to drop that goal.
Robert Jones just in line with a stand shadow there. Still a sunny afternoon, and this time Swansea's front row go to ground. In there so quickly was Sean McGaughey saying, my left foot will put this ball in the right place.
I think he's going to make sure he puts it safe here. He's kicking into this very strong wind coming from the south stand.
And indeed hasn't found touch, and Blenheim Taylor will run at his former clubmates. That is a good kick, perfectly done, just outside the 22, but Adwell Parry, what confidence from the fullback, and sets up McGaughey as well. Hansen poised outside him. This time McGaughey, no doubt, the far touchline as Clement, does he? Well, he doesn't step on the 22 a second time, make sure that he's well back this time.
What play with Adwell Parry, he was under pressure, changed defence into attack by some lovely neat footwork, good pass in, well played the fullback, and McGaughey put it 70 metres downfield.
Just 10 minutes remaining. Pontypool, the 2-point advantage. The possession from the line-up as well. And just a loss of discipline by Swansea. Tugging at Gary Jonathan before he had the ball. Joseph obviously having problems with the ear injury as well. Well, suddenly Pontypool's tails are up. They're in the driving seat, and Adwell Parry confident enough to attempt to kick a goal from some 37 metres. The perfect day for watching rugby. Just a little blustery wind, perhaps making place kicking difficult, but for the spectators it's been interesting, it's been pleasant, and it's all to play for. Adwell Parry, with this kick, can probably put Pontypool into the 1991 Cup final. A successful kick here really puts them in the driving seat, but well, that will disappoint him. Swansea will breathe again and realise that a penalty, a try or a drop goal will get them back in front. What sort of momentum then can Kevin Price set up from here? Not offering his forwards all that much hope, but Neil Jones and Kerry Jonathan will offer problems for Swansea. What a catch from Clement, but swamped as he caught it. Pontypool on the rampage. Jonathan, a chance for Rob Lewis. The short route for the centre. The momentum is there. Not quite over the line as yet though. And the scrum awarded, and all the advantages will be stacked in Pontypool's favour.
And I tell you, there's no more difficult team in the country to score against, or to keep, when they keep the ball tight, than Pontypool. This is what they love. Forward, good strength. Bob Lewis, just noticed he didn't go out to the open, came straight back to the support of his forwards, and he did very well, that man on the floor, Phillips, because he took Clement man and ball. It's a perfect up and under. Look at Phillips, he sacrificed himself, and Hewish is there and Swansea are in all sorts of trouble from here on in, because they know that Poole are going to win the ball, but they're not going to make any mistakes. He comes back to his forwards, he's very strong as Lewis, ex-flanker, looking for support, driving towards the line, looking for that drive to get over, but also marvellous defence by Swansea.
In Pontypool's halcyon days, this would have been one route only. The ball would have been kept in the scrum and the drive would have been on. Let's see Pontypool of 1991. Oswald the pickup, Jonathan the run, is there space there? The scrum half has scored! Kelly Jonathan gets the try that puts Pontypool, I'm sure, into the final. And tremendously done, well worked from the scrum. And the scrum half the reward.
And the scrum half had a lot of work to do here. I thought they'd go for the second shove, but Oswald gives him the ball, and it's no easy task, there's men there, but he shows determination, grit and a lot of strength, all in the right spot to try for the scrum half. Oswald didn't really go forward, he gave the scrum half up, said you take him on, pass dummy, and there's when he, see if he makes it. Yes, he just got there, well done scrum half.
He's a relieved man. Gary Jonathan, try in the semi-final match. It gives his side a decided advantage of 6 points. Adwell Paddy can extend it further. But that not really threatening the posts, but Pontypool with just 5.5 minutes remaining now have a 6-point lead.
And that conversion was a very, very important kick there, because Swansea still into the game at 16-10. Had it gone to 18-10, I think the game would have been completely over.
Kevin Price again can't offer his forwards any hope at all, and Oswald will thank him when this ball or ruck finishes, because again Jonathan already looking for the high up and under, and the tester Taylor, well, the whole of the Pontypool team very nearly were encroaching within that 10-metre circle of the catcher.
And that's a loss of concentration, because Oswald had set that up perfectly from a very poor kick-off, and really that should have been downfield 60 metres. Now we'll see Swansea attack, they've got to throw caution to the wind.
Swansea forwards, having taken on Pontypool on equal terms up until now must release the three-quarters as Price and Hopkins, a little running off the ball, and this is a clear run. The Scotsman Sean McGaughey will round off this game off a Swansea mistake, and that is the culmination of Pontypool's march to the cup final. McGaughey, the try scorer, and Pontypool surely now are home and dry.
Swansea have to run it, minutes left, but they've over-elaborated again. Derby says, straight past, nobody sure what's happening. McGaughey, for me, the best back on field this afternoon, took the ball into his left hand. He can't believe his luck, he's got 60 metres to run. Price got no chance of stopping him, and that sealed the game for Pontypool. I think some good hands, just move the ball, let Clement use his pace, that would have been the best thing, but they do dummy scissors. Titley'd come in on the burst, complications, and McGaughey's in a trial for Scotland, he's played for Scottish B, shows good rhythm, doesn't panic, his head still, pumping those arms. Swansea perfect, and number 10 Price can't stop him. That's a wonderful try for the Pontypool centre.
Adwell Paddy has this chance to put Pontypool 12 points ahead, and well, no wonder the arm raised in triumph from the fullback. He knows full well, the Pontypool supporters know full well, that they can now book another seat here on the first Saturday of May. Swansea then, having had so much early control here, having started the match in a storming manner, now find themselves fighting the tide. They reclaim that though, but again, a nudge forward thwarts their efforts.
As I said earlier, Pontypool pass masters now will be into the box. They'll be tight. They'll put all the pressure on Swansea, putting them into narrow spaces.
Gary Jonathan, frustrated for the moment as he waits for the front rows to settle and engage properly. Climbed all in, wanting Gary Jenkins bound tighter, and Gary Jonathan passes. Really, we risk anything. Well, he does, and Adwal Pari in true cricketing fielding fashion, the lowered knee, the perfect catch, and the comforting kick. Chris Hewish will have asked Norling how long to go. Will know what his team has to do just to hold on. Certainly, as long as they harry and hassle the Swansea captain, they're in the driving seat.
Hasn't that been a lot of the story for Swansea this afternoon? Tapping back, putting Jones under all sorts of pressure, and the polar forwards love that.
And the tap was there again, but jumping across, and McGaughey into the last minute of normal time, and McGaughey's left foot will ensure that Swansea spend that last minute in Campton or very close to their own 22. And the chant at last, we've waited a long time for it, and the cry that was so familiar in the early 80s but diminished over the last few seasons, now back in full voice. And Billy James, still some fight left in the veteran legs, but there's not quite the progress of old there. Robert Jones, good running from the scrum half. James, if he can now release it. The support is there from Moriarty, the pass from Reynolds, the counter-attack from Phillips, Price rather, Parfitt weaving a pattern, but can Goody take advantage? Good running from the lock forward, superb skills. Oswald the support, Pontypool yet again on the rampage. They'll want to release this if they can. Jonathan, then the high tester. Well, that's letting Swansea off the hook. Titley will thank him for not having to tackle. He'll catch and kick all day long.
As you rightly said, he should have passed that, he had men outside, but his kick was to perfection, right into the corner. Titley, the perfect counter-attacker, the great man from impossible situations, but he had 4 men on him straight away.
Yes, agreeing with his captain. He's been told what next to do, and he's in full agreement. Jenkins. Well, Reynolds again has to do that difficult work of saving on the try line, and this again sets up a scrum that points everything towards Pontypool.
And earlier on in the game, the second half, when Mr. Norling took him down for collapsing the scrum, Jonathan went on a run across field. Let's see if he'll bring one of his centres on the burst here.
The position is perfect. That's quickly delivered, and Jonathan on the slant, the straight run from Lewis, and so both centres have scored. And this time, again, the acknowledgement, and the two centres have that feeling of unity, and that both now have scored a try. And Lewis, well, you wouldn't get a broader smile than that.
Oh, lovely hand shown by Jonathan. Takes the defence as a dummy there. Simple pop-up, but Lewis is so strong, so powerful, brushes through the tackles, so confident, and he's over. It's that dummy by number 10. Centre, ex-flanker, just bursts through the tackle. You're not going to stop a big man from that distance.
Robert Lewis, Pontypool's try scorer, and the congratulations of Sean Hansen. And as Pontypool have grown in confidence, so has Adwal Pari's kicking prowess as he attempts this conversion. And well, it went over, hit the post and went over, and Adwal Pari makes his way to the changing room, knowing that he, with that final conversion, has helped his team to the Schweppes Cup final. And what a game this has been. Full of twists and turns, of thrusts and counter-thrusts, and the Pontypool replacements rush onto the field to congratulate their fellow players. Chris Hewish, the triumphant captain, and what satisfaction for him. And interesting, Richard Moriarty and he played against one another the last time they played in the here in the final of '83. But Chris Hewish, the captain of Pontypool, with that final scoreline of 28 points to them, Swansea 10. And the disappointment, quite obvious on the Swansea players' faces. They'd been in the driving seat, they'd held the early initiative, but really the Pontypool drive was constant and extended, and they held their ground, drove on, and deservedly, I would have thought, Phil Bennett now enter the cup final.
Yes, that must be a great feeling in that Pontypool dress. One of loyalty, that they've stuck together. It was one of fitness, one of character in the end, because with 20 minutes to go and they'd been penalised near their line, I thought, hang on, they'd flat, they're back in their own 22, but they'd stepped up their gear, and a marvellous performance. They deserve to win. So
here then, in what's been an experiment on the part of the Welsh Rugby Union, the first semi-final match has resulted in a win for Pontypool. They're the first team into the final. The final score here, Pontypool 28, Swansea 10.
So a tremendous servant to Llanelli, and it's been a superb performance shown in the semi-final. I think if you would have asked Gareth Jenkins, one man he would have loved not to lose for this game would be Phil May. He's very important to Llanelli pack, and also it means that Phil Davies has had to move up to the second row, and Phil is not as effective from the second row as he is at number 8.
They got a good man though, Julian Williams, at number 8.
That's right, a good youngster, but there's not, you can replace experience, and I think that'll. At first I thought, you know, Llanelli definitely, but they'll even things up. They'll miss Phil May today, definitely.
So how do you compare the two packs? I mean, Pontypool substantially base their game on the pack, don't they?
That's right. I think John Perkins has done a tremendous job this season, and recently I watched Pontypool demoralise Cardiff. Had a superb performance up front. You know, he might have the new Pontypool front row there, and they've done a superb job on the day, and then good ball winners. So I think the big thing for Pontypool is how well their halfbacks played. Kerry Jonathan and Dave Phillips played well in the semi-final. Big game for them today.
That was a good game that those boys played, the semi-final. How better can Pontypool get from that semi-final appearance against Swansea?
Well, they're led by a superb captain, Chris Hewish, who's come back out of retirement and done a great job for Pontypool. You know, he'll never go backwards. He refuses to go backwards here. I don't think he puts his card in reverse, so you know, he's going to lead from the front. And this Pontypool side is playing with a lot of confidence, and also, more importantly, a lot of spirit, you know. That's probably been missing, you know, in parts in the Welsh game this year.
Have you seen much of the New Zealander, Dean Oswald?
Very impressed with him. I thought he pulled everything together in the semi-final. Very important man, linked well with Kerry Jonathan at scrum half, and typical New Zealand players. Do you see many bad New Zealanders?
Where do you see their real strength, Pontypool's?
I think it's up front, you know. They've got a strong ball-winning pack, you know. So as I said earlier, it's a big occasion for the two lads at half-back, and if they use it wisely, especially with this win, they could give Llanelli certainly a very good close game.
They got a very good centre partnership with Sean McGaughey and Bob Lewis.
Yeah,
the Scottish boy.
I think so. We tend to think of Pontypool, we get carried away of being a forward-oriented side. I think, especially surprised me even with Perkins coach, they played a bit of football this year, you know. And towards the end against Swansea, so tremendous character coming back. They scored some good tries, they're good footballers.
If you look at Adol Parry at fullback, he's making his second consecutive appearance. Of course, he was with Bridgend last year, but he missed a few important kicks for Bridgend in last year's final. That's
right, I think he probably would have learned from that experience. He said after the semi-final he needed to tee the ball up a bit on a bit of sand this time, so I think he'll be look forward and hope that his kicks go over this time.
Of course, people would say that the Llanelli side, they have their star players in the three quarters, but they've got to win the ball first.
That's right. As we talked earlier about Phil May, there's another lad out there playing for Llanelli, Lawrence Delaney, you know. Them two, long term, I don't know how Gareth Jenkins is going to replace him, you know. Done a fantastic job for their club, and they got a very good pack. So, you know, on the day, they're a bit inconsistent throughout the season, Llanelli, but there's not a better side on come the day, come the hour. You know, they're the best side in Wales for the big occasion.
But you talk about the halfback partnership with David Phillips and Kerry Jonathan, but one which is blossoming towards the end of the season has been Colin Stevens and Rupert Moon.
Yeah, it's good to see Colin Stevens come back into a bit of form. I think he's learned from the early part of the season, shown a lot more maturity, and we are seeing Colin Stevens what he is capable of.
They got two English boys in this Llanelli side, Rupert Moon and Anthony Copsey, the big boy in the second row. Have you seen much of this lad?
Yeah, Anthony Cobbs, he had a very good semi-final against Neath. Again, a good ball winner in his duel against Richard Goody will be very important for either side. And Rupert Moon is moved from Neath this season. It's very important that Lanethley centre. Quick, breaks well from the mauls, good service, and they'll be hoping for a big game for him today.
How much difference does it mean, Terry, the fact that Pontypool are making only their second appearance here? Lanethley, this is their 9th.
I think so. It's a big thing for the Pontypool young lads who are coming into this occasion. And as we said about Lanethley, they've done it against New Zealand, they've done it against everyone. Come the hour, come the day. I played against them often enough, and I know that they're the side for the big occasion.
All right, Terry, I'm going to ask you for a prediction. I've got to do that.
It's going to be a lot closer now that Phil May's missing. I think that's even things up a lot, and I think we're going to see a cracking final. But personally, I'll just go for the Scarlets.
All right, Terry, thanks a lot. We'll be talking to you a little bit later. But the band is out there. The crowd is just about filling the stadium. A 56,000 crowd is expected here for this 1991 Schweppes Cup final. Lanethley against Pontypool, and Pontypool, who are wearing new kit, incidentally, today. And traditionally, the Scarlets will be wearing their famous scarlet jersey. So for commentary on this Schweppes Cup final, let's hand you over now to our commentary team of Phil Bennett and first Lynn Davis.
8 months of constant rugby hasn't dulled the Welsh rugby watchers' appetite for the big occasion. This grand finale to the 1990-91 season, yet again supported to the hilt. And the prospects as keen as ever for a match that should see all of rugby's avenues explored. Lanethley, in theory at least, the wider, broader ones, Pontypool, the closer, narrower ones. But I'm sure Phil Bennett will confirm is something of an oversimplification.
Yes, a lot of people over the years have just thought that Lanethley had to move it to the backs when they played Pontypool, and that would do the trick. But every game I played in the 70s against the great Pontypool packs, when Cameron James was coach, Norman Gale was coach, we said that we were going to try and take him up front and at least get parity. And I'm sure Gareth Jenkins has talked about the 15-man game, and they will move the ball, but first of all they will want to take Pontypool on up front and gain equalness there.
I gather from talking to the Lawrence Delaney's of the world, the Phil Mays and so on, that they're always slightly hurt by the fact that Lanethley packs are always dismissed as something of a soft touch.
Yes, because at the end of the day, I think I've listened this week to Ray Prosser and John Perkins saying it's not the glittering backs that are beating Pontypool, but the Delaney's, the Foxes, the Phil Mays, and they always used to call us the glamour boys, but they do the donkey work. And I'm sure today, although it's been a big blow for Lanethley, it'll be a vital battle in the line-out, and that's where they'll miss Phil May, because when the likes of John Perkins give him this great credit. But funny enough, I was talking to Ian Stevens the other day and Spiky Watkins, two great forward characters, and they rated guys like Delaney. They said, for all the stars, Delaney, those are the guys that do the hard work, destroy the other packs.
How difficult is it to sort of decide between the mythology that surrounds this aura of Ray Prosser and his cohorts, perhaps at Pontypool? Is it reality or is it myth?
Oh no, they've been a magnificent side for so many years. They've always had a great pack of forwards. I heard Terry Holmes say that Chris Lewis would never go back. That's true of all the Pontypool players. And they never throw the towel in, they would play for 80 minutes. They've always been a marvellous side. They've maybe lacked backs in the last 20 years, because when you look at their sides that have won week in, week out with the Windsor's, the Squires, the Butlers, the Cobners, they never really had the backs. Bishop came a bit later, but what a side they had when Bishop and Ring were there. That was probably one of the best club sides I've seen over 20 or 30 years. But isn't it funny, Lynn, even in those days, Neath beat them in the semi-final of the Cup that season. They played to their best of their ability every Saturday, and sometimes then they failed to raise that one little gear when the big Cup matches come along.
You mentioned Bishop and Ring as half-backs, and I hear perhaps that Pontypool, in a sense, would want a bigger, more controlling pair at half-back than the two they've got today.
Well, Kerry Jonathan tries to play a similar game to what David Bishop plays. He's a lovely little kicker and a neat runner, but of course for me David Bishop was the best club scrum half I've seen in 20 or 30 years. Didn't have the chance to prove it at international level, but a big responsibility for these two today. If the pack win good ball, and let's be fair against Swansea put it on the plate for them by tapping badly, they poured through, gave the ball back to the half-backs, they stuck it in the box. It was excellent play. Now these are going to play a crucial role. I don't know whether they're quite up to the standard of a Bishop and Ring. Only this afternoon will tell.
What about the contrast on the other side then, the halfbacks at Lanethley? Lanethley traditionally have created halfbacks. How do these fit into that mould, Moon and Stevens?
Well, Moon's very much in the Jonathan Griffiths mould, a good runner, and he's been a great Dennis.
Well, Dennis Evans obviously has suffered the same injury as Phil May. Whether he fell at a line-out last Saturday isn't quite clear, but obviously suffering just a little bit today.
Yes, Moon's been a great sort of capture for Llanelli, because he is taking the pressure off Stevens, who had a bad start of the season by running, keeping the back row down. He's a very strong scrum half, and he's he can take a bump. Colin Stevens is playing the best rugby of his senior career at the moment, been outstanding the last few weeks, and what I like about his play is when he misses a kick, he doesn't panic like he did earlier. Same routine as Grant Fox does, bang, goes back same distance, and that's going to be a crucial battle again. Stevens' tactical kicking got better and better against Neath in the semi-final, and I'm sure Admiral Parry is supposed to have a suspect shoulder. I'm sure Llanelli will be sticking that ball high early on to test him.
Talking about high balls, as Chris Hewish makes his way out into the field, that's the man, the indestructible man that leads the Pontypool side, and Llanelli in their traditional red, of course. And there won't be many people sitting on the fence here today. It's either one or the other, as Derek Bevan and his two touch judges as well. I just wonder, you mentioned the high ball. Ian Jones, how much of a gamble is that as full-back for Llanelli?
I was just going to make the point. Ian Jones has scored 26 or 27 tries this season, but he's played on the wing, in the centre, and only lately at full-back. They'll be putting the ball up high to him early on, and it is a swirling wind.
Phil Davis and Chris Hewish, the two captains then. What responsibilities rest on those broad shoulders? Not quite as tall as his counterpart is Chris Hewish, but what a heart, as big as anyone's I'd have thought.
Oh, I'll tell you that Chris Hewish, of all the years I've seen Pontypool, he sums them up totally. And when the players left this season, I walked up from Pontypool Park after watching Llanelli sort of luckily beat Pontypool, and he was very distraught. He's disappointed, he hates losing, but what he's done, he's a man's man. He's brought all the boys back together, and they're going to die for him out there this afternoon.
As they group in front of the stand then, to be presented to Schweppes' financial director, David Staveley. Just the cacophony rising here as both sections of support try and outdo each other. And I just wanted the other point, perhaps the two giants. We see one giant there in Phil Davis, but Anthony Copsey and Richard Goody, the middle line boys, and that's where the ball that the backs at least like to get comes from.
Yes, many critics in Wales believe that Copsey is probably the best middle liner jumper in Welsh rugby at the moment. Unfortunately, he's English. Now the thing about Goody, had a good semi-final because he poured through on Swansea's bar tapping, but I saw him play against Neath as we did a couple of weeks ago, and Gareth Llewellyn completely cleaned him out. So I think Llanelli will be looking for Copsey to win that vital tap ball, which of course they can move so quickly from the middle of the line-outs. But another area which I think will be crucial in the line-out, we saw in the Neath semi-final, Emil Lewis come to the front of the line-out a lot to try and put some breaks on Gareth Llewellyn. I think he'll also come today to put pressure on Neil Jones at the front of the line-out. It was a good play for Pontypool.
So, Chris Hewish to present his team, his right winger, Sean White, his prop forward, Andrew Dibble, Gavin Jenkins, the hooker. So the front row combination, Lyndon Musto, the prop. As we reach the big man in Neil Jones, the Scotsman, what an honour that is for Sean McGaughey, and then his partner, Rob Lewis. Vince Davis. Really is a big day for these men. Not all that many Pontypool players have been under these circumstances. The Australia-bound Richard Goody, giant of a man. And coming up will be Dean Oswald, the Kiwi, playing here. A dream come true, he's called that, the Kiwi. David Phillips, the outside half. Really is a big day for them. And finally, Kerry Jonathan, the scrum half. And Arwell Parry, the fullback. And Pontypool will depend so much on him. And with William Trahan there as well, the president, being introduced to the referee Derek Bevan, and touch judges Clive Dowling and Les Peard, plus Gareth Simmons, who will stand in just in case. And then the giant Phil Davis. The Davis is together there. Simon next. This is nothing new for the next man, Lawrence Delaney. So much experience and enjoying every single second of it. Rather different for this young man, Anthony Copsey, a Londoner, playing here at the National Stadium in the final for the first time. The diminutive Colin Stevens and the dynamic Richard Boone. And one of the stars of the athletic team, Ian Evans, followed by another Evans in Ricky. David Fox, a hooker. Julian Williams, who really is something, we'll see this as something of a surprise. Ian Jones as well. Williams in because Phil Davis plays at lock. Jones instead of Luke Evans. Lynn Jones, Emil Lewis, and Steve Bowling. And last but not least, Nigel Davis. So the little niceties. So the look at that Llanelli line.